Podcast with Rich Keefe. It's the DORK Podcast. Ryan Davey. It's the DORK Podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of hashtag DORK. My name is Rich Keefe. Joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Rick Rude Von Dick Dude. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan Davey. Davey, how are you?
Flying high today, huh?
Whoo!
I'm just burning, doing the neutron dance. Is what I'm doing over here.
That's great to hear for sure. And this is an exciting episode. The nightcap of our day-night doubleheader here on hashtag DORK. It's a TV edition. A couple of new shows we're going to be watching this fall. So if you missed it, we did the first two episodes of Agatha All Along, the new Disney Plus MCU series. Davey and I both are very intrigued after the first two episodes. We enjoy witches and covens. And
I said it was interesting.
Catherine Hahn.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in on that. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go from Marvel to DC. But before we do that, Ryan, I have some emails. People have emailed the program. DORK
People can't get enough of the email.
At gmail.com. Email us. It's free. We read them. We've done a bad job of bringing them to the airways all the time, but now I got a few I'm going to rip off for you. All right, this one comes in from Brent. Again, dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Always a pleasure to write to you. Much like you, I love Deadpool and Wolverine. Even saw it twice in the theater with my wife. As a fan, I can't help but daydream about what Deadpool 4 would look like. What's that?
I'm giggling at what's about to be said.
If it's a team up, I have a few ideas. Feel free to comment or offer your own suggestions. Deadpool and the Punisher. Dude, John Bernthal playing it straight. It would be.
We tried, but that was like the same thing with Cable. Like that was like playing it straight, and
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
All right, what about Deadpool and MacGruber?
MacGruber! He has a drink or two each night, but it doesn't affect his job. MacGruber! That guy's a social drinker. MacGruber!
I'd watch
this
shit out of that.
Has the potential to be the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I would love to see like them trying to carry out some sort of thing and just MacGruber keep fucking it up.
That'd be so good.
To the point where like Deadpool gets pissed.
I was gonna say it would have to be the one character that like even Deadpool can't stand.
He's like, you fucking stop. Yeah.
MacGruber's just absolutely
like all the confidence.
Yeah.
But like so Deadpool has confidence, but always somehow pulls it off. Like if it's some like MacGruber just fucking things up. Like I think that would be really funny.
I like to take old biddies and bunching mocks.
That'd be amazing.
That would be the whole movie. Just them going back and forth would be great.
That'd be so good. He also, how about this one? Deadpool and Crashmore.
What are we, 10 years old? I've seen every cock on the planet.
See, I think Crashmore is a lone wolf. I think he does his own thing. He doesn't need a partner.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
He said that? Fuck him. Yeah, Crashmore he could go rogue on it. Dude, I'm still so pissed. There was a fucking sketch, and I talked about it at the time, but when I saw the Tim Robinson live show and they aired like maybe 4 or 5 sketches that didn't make it to I Think You Should Leave for some reason. And one of them had Biff with in it, and it was like laugh out loud funny, and they didn't put it in there. It's a shame.
I wonder like what the process was of like what makes the cut and what doesn't.
I don't really know. They didn't really get into it too much. A couple of them they pulled because it was like, oh, that one was similar to this other one, or this one went like long, and I'm like, put them all in.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares if the show is 22 minutes versus 17? Like, who
Weird.
cares?
I don't know. They must have somebody must have been like, this is what we're doing. 16 minutes.
What was the sketch he did? So everyone who goes on Seth Meyers, like he has any SNL person, they talk about like sketches that they wrote that didn't air. And Andy Samberg had the one like asking everyone if they want to go to the bathroom with him. Do you hear that one?
I don't think so.
He was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. You want to come with?
That's pretty
You
good.
want to come with? What was Tim Robinson had one, and it was
one of his
electric.
was it was like life jackets for cool guys.
That's what it was. Life jackets for cool guys.
And it was like you were throwing these like leather coats or these leather vests to guys to save them, whatever. Because like they needed to look cool as they're getting saved or some shit like that.
You're in a vulnerable position. You got to look cool.
It's so stupid. But yeah, that's one. Dude, I saw a clip. You know Connor O'Malley, like his
Yes.
buddy that's in like 5 of the sketches, probably, and he's in the Pointer Brothers from that
He's
thing.
also Frankenstein's chick, right? That's Connor O'Malley.
Yeah, it's Connor O'Malley. There was a thing going on around on Instagram because I didn't see it live, but he was on with Seth Meyers, and he was like talking to Seth Meyers, and he was like kind of bored by it, and then all of a sudden he's like looks in the crowd, he's like, yeah, you go ahead, and Seth's like, are you taking questions from the crowd? like, yeah, I thought they'd maybe help me out a little bit. Like obviously Seth Meyers is hilarious, but it was like,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
he was just like, yeah, I don't know about this or whatever. He's like, yeah, you go ahead. What do you? Like, you can't just start taking questions from the crowd. All right. Anyway, that one came in from Brent. This next email is from Peter. He says, hey guys, I just got out of seeing the new horror movie called The Substance, and it was great. I think it would make for a good episode of the podcast. It would be a good addition to the hashtag dork erotica files. And it is full of some of the craziest and nastiest practical effects I've ever seen. I'd love to hear your guys' take on it. Peter.
Peter.
I never heard of this. I looked it up. It's getting super good reviews, not just by Peter, but by others as well. Demi Moore is in it. Margaret Qualley is in it. And I believe Dennis Quaid, who took the role from Ray Liotta. Sadly, Ray Liotta was cast and then died like shortly after being cast, didn't film it. And so, yeah, they call it like a body horror.
Yeah. So it's like, I read the synopsis and it's like almost like a death becomes her. It's like an actress who's kind of like phasing out and then takes this pill that like turns her into like a younger, better version of herself.
Interesting. Because they said Demi Moore, it's like the best role she's had maybe ever. And she was in Striptease.
God, that movie was awful.
Not a great movie, but like, hey. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
She's up there wiggling it on the stage, and then the next scene's like her and her daughter, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh, no.
But then you see her, not with the kid, and you're like,
Give me that.
I do remember that feeling very well. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Rest in peace.
So speaking of actors who left us too soon.
It's way too soon.
Yep. I loved it.
All right. So this next one comes in. This last email comes in from Felix. He says, love the show. Was wondering if either of you guys had tried playing the game Multiverses, the platform fighter with WBIP. It's really great and would highly recommend it if you haven't. Anyhow, if you do try it, it would be a good podcast idea to get your thoughts on the game and also which characters they could add into the game, which aren't yet in the game included, with WB owns so many IP, from DC characters to the Cartoon Network properties, HBO shows, Looney Tunes, Hanna-Barbera, and many classic movies. Thank you for all the entertainment, guys, that you provide on a weekly basis. Keep it up, Felix.
Yeah, have you heard of this game?
I've heard of it. I'd never played it. Have you played it?
So it's basically like DC Warner Brothers version of like Smash Brothers. So it actually is like really, really fun if you're like a Smash Brothers, like that type of fighting game fan. You can play from everyone from like Batman and Superman to like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Cool. It actually is like really, really fun. But it's one of those games that like it's casually fun. I don't see myself spending hours and hours and hours playing it. I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. Beat them up a little bit, sock them around a little bit.
I'm trying to see and
I feel like just picking the characters is like half the fun.
And the crazy thing about it is like the character list, the roster, is crazy. So like Rick and Morty are in it. Morty, the Iron Giant, Harley Quinn, Wonder Woman, Gizmo, Jason,
nice,
Beetlejuice, the Powerpuff Girls.
All right.
LeBron James.
Nope. Won't play it ever.
Stripe, who is holding a chainsaw like Gremlins.
Yeah, sure.
Marvin the Martian.
Ooh, Marvin the Martian's good.
So like there's a lot of characters here you can play.
Pepe Le Pew in it, or did you get canceled?
Not yet. He is a little bit,
Yeah, I would say so.
Donnie Don.
Is Donnie Don in the game?
God, I hope so.
Next update, look at Donnie Don. All right, very good. So those are just some of the emails. Send those bad boys in anytime. Literally anytime. It doesn't matter to us. dorkpodcast@gmail.com.
We don't give a shit
No,
when you
that's
send it.
That's true.
Y'all ready for biz?
Are y'all ready for the topic du jour?
I guess.
Well, I'm glad you asked because it's the topic of the day. And today it is the premiere, episode 1 of The Penguin, the spinoff of The Batman, starring Colin Farrell, who is reprising his role as the Penguin from The Batman. It is an HBO Max series. It'll be 8 episodes in all. Episode 1 runtime over an hour. And we still will begin those spoiler free, even though for the 1 episode. And Ryan, let me ask you this. Do you like it?
No,
Doesn't like it. Do you love it?
I love it.
Ha! You fuck.
I got you guys so fucking good.
I wasn't sure, but yeah, no, I thought it was pretty great. Like it's
fucking good.
It's fucking good. Also, I know this was last episode we were talking about it, but I know we have quite a crossover audience.
Sure,
I'm sure people also listen to the last episode. IGN gave this show a 5.
Fuck IGN. They're the worst. They're the worst.
Speaking of, and I don't know the answer to this for everybody, but Tyler in the chat says, do you guys know if the critics that reviewed The Penguin are doing so based on the whole season or just the first episode? I know a lot of times it's just the first episode,
and I know a lot of times it's like the first 5, and a lot of times it's all of it. So it's like it's either like one, some, or all. And I know that's like the lamest answer because, like, of course it is. But I've no shows that gave like review copies of like the first 5 episodes. And I know things that have done things with 1 episode, but I do think that I think they've seen all of it.
I couldn't possibly give a negative review based off of 1. That's me personally, because how many shows have we seen that have gotten so much better? Imagine if you only saw the first episode of WandaVision. Speaking of that, remember, like, because it was so different, it was so unlike the rest of the show. That's all you saw. And even if you loved it, you're like, well, that's not really what the whole show is. I think that's insane. Like, there are really good pilot episodes. And great. And you should talk about that if you like it. Be like, hey, did it suck you in to get your attention? But to be like, it didn't do anything that I wanted it to do. It's like, well, there's 7 more hours of the show.
Yeah, I know that, but like it's a 94. It's like all the critic reviews that got the same shit as IGN. It's 94% positive, and they're like, nope, it's a 5. And did you read the review?
They were just like,
he's not Tony Soprano. Like, he's not trying to be Tony Soprano. Like, what are you talking about?
He doesn't need to be. And
it's like, it's not Goodfellas or The Sopranos, so whatever.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. They're like, oh, like good. It's like one of the greatest TV shows of all time and like 2 of the greatest movies of all time. They're like, it's not The Godfather or Goodfellas. It's like, can you give it a minute? And it's not trying to be. Those are movies. Just because something isn't like mafia and like crime bosses doesn't mean it's either this or Goodfellas. You got to pick one.
Right. Like there's like different shades here. You can't just be like, it's not this, so it's bad.
Yeah.
No, like, what are you talking about? That's a shit review.
Yeah, this is a cool show. I'm fascinated to see where they go with this and how it either chooses to tie in or not tie in or whatever. I just love Gotham City. Like, you know me, like whether it's the video games, the comic books, the movies, give me some Gotham City shit. You kind of know in your mind what else is going on. Like this takes, but this is no spoiler. Like it takes place right after the movie. So
it's like a week after, right?
Yeah. So like the Riddler's destruction of Gotham City has already happened. Batman does exist.
They mention him.
It's a young, what is it? Year 2. We decided year 2 Batman. Obviously the Joker is locked up. Like he exists in this universe too. But this is more about the Falcones, the Maronis, and Penguin. It's that type of shit.
And I love that. The depth of the storytelling. So they're starting to introduce parts of Gotham that like I didn't know existed. So they're talking about like the East Side, like I'm from the East Side, or from like they talk about like neighborhoods that you might not have known existed. And like that's such a great thing because it's not just, what do they call it? Like the Narrows, or what's the like the
oh yeah, that's one of them. Oh, and like
that's underneath, but there's like New Gotham and like
yeah.
But there's like different areas and different neighborhoods of Gotham that what's the Robbinswood or something, like they mentioned another one.
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, I forget.
But there's like Yeah, they try to like move the thing out there to
Mhm.
like Robin's whatever. But I mean, it's deep storytelling. I mean, this is really cool. I think it's going in a very good direction.
Yeah, I do too. Now, also, we both loved the Batman. I know there
Yeah.
are some people out there that don't love the Batman. That was in our top 50 movies of all time. It's definitely dark and dreary and rainy and, a lot of Nirvana, but we like it. This feels like that. There's less Nirvana, but it does feel like the Batman. It looks like
It's 100% less Nirvana.
there's been entirely to this point, but it's a Matt Reeves production, right? Like he didn't direct it, but Matt Reeves is involved.
He's like an executive producer and like not the showrunner, but he's like, you can tell he's like overseeing this kind
he's
of whole
making
thing.
sure this shit is right. I still am blown away, and now that we've seen him in the movie and we've seen him in the show, that they Colin Farrell as the Penguin. When they cast it, I thought it was so weird, and I was like, I guess they got to put a ton of makeup on him. Doesn't look like him at all. He is a really good actor though, and he's good in this role. But it's just very strange. Of all the people in the world that could have been the Penguin, it would have taken me a lot of guesses to get to Colin Farrell.
Because he is a handsome devil
He
without
is.
that makeup on. I don't know if you watch like the after show and stuff. Like,
no, I didn't.
oh,
I know that he's
devil.
handsome. I mean, you don't got to tell me twice.
He's got that Irish voice on him too, but like they do fuck him up in like the best way.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got the penguin nose, but he's also like kind of dinged up. He's like got some scars on his face, and
dude's all
some
jacked
shit.
up. He's got a ton of scars on his face. He's got like gold like replacement teeth.
Yeah,
there's some stories. His face has seen some stuff.
Yeah, there's an odyssey there. His face, there's a long drawn out journey that face went on. But like his hoof is like his foot is all fucked up, so he's got that penguin waddle. But you kind of see why.
Oh, you see why?
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Now, all due respect, if any of our listeners have a foot like that, I apologize.
I don't have a foot like that. I do have a bad foot, but I do not have a foot like that.
Yeah, no, there are bad foots, and then there's whatever the Penguin's dealing with. That was jacked up because they're both not like that. He's got one foot that looks like a normal foot. The other one, it was basically toes are all on sideways.
Basically, yeah, they're all crossed each other, and they're all out for themselves. They're not working together.
No,
my toes are all at least one. So most of my toes are all facing the same direction, but but these ones are they're out for themselves. They're crisscrossing. They're going
every man for himself.
Looks like a football play with different crossing routes.
Yeah, but I think it's just some illegal men downfield.
There has to be.
Like, it's not the flag on that play. Like you can't run that too often. So yeah, it's fucked. And like they zoom in on it. That was probably the most graphic thing in this episode. Like that was intense seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't unsee it. And do you think? All right, here's a question for you: do we get more penguin feet stuff the rest of the series?
Oh yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because there's going to be an explanation of like how that happened. Because what I love is that are we in the spoilers yet? We're never.
Oh no, not yet. We'll get there. We'll save it.
Yeah, I'll save it. Yeah,
save it. We'll do spoilers in a second. I was just gonna say, much like we were talking about with Agatha all along, that show doesn't really need established Marvel characters to show up. If it does, I'm cool with it. But if it doesn't, I think it also could just be a good standalone. Do you need the Batman or any other Marvel characters or DC characters besides the Falcons and the Maronis and shit like that? But like, do you need anybody else?
No, maybe like I would love some like for some shit to go down and then have him like talk to like Professor Pig. Or like when we get to we'll talk about Sophia a little bit, but like seeing Hugo Strange wouldn't be a terrible thing.
Yeah, I like something like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
like I don't need Batman as much as I love Batman.
I don't need Batman.
Like you can refer to him, but like he doesn't need to be in there. Like I'm fine if he's not in there.
So Clarky brings up a good point in the chat. Like I would love to see like something about to pop off and then the signal go off and then be like fuck and they just like bail.
Yeah, just they scurry. They see the bat signal and they're like, we can't be here. We got to go.
Or it's
inside.
like Oz and Vic, and they're like, God damn it! Like they were gonna like build up to do something, and then they see the thing and they're like, we can't do it. We can't. Yeah,
I like that.
But you never see him. You never see him. You just see the signal.
Yeah, right. I'm good with
Yeah.
that. I'm good with that. I think you can open it up because like there are definitely the cartoonish villains of Batman. Then there's definitely like the crime lord ones, and there's some crossover.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying you need Black Mask, but like Black Mask kind of is a guy that's in both of those worlds. You
And you
know,
can get like a low level part, like Joe Chill could show up at some point.
yeah, for sure. You could definitely
Yeah.
do shit like that. So I'm good with it. I don't really need it. I like the cast right now. Again, with the Falcons and just Oz, and then his sort of side character that we'll get into going forward. This is absolutely a must watch. I think this has it's been a good year for TV once again, but this has a chance, depending on how these next 7 episodes go. This could be a Dork nominee for show of the year. It's that kind of
And
start.
there's something that we haven't even talked about yet that is the best part of the show that we need to talk about in spoilers.
All right, let's get in there right now. Quit messing around.
Spoilers! 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 Here come the spoilers!
I already have.
Kristen Miliotti's Sophia
Whew.
Falcone is fucking terrifying.
I think it's her eyes.
She gets like, I don't know how she does it.
Yeah.
Because she was in Palm Springs and that was a great movie, super funny, like great comedic timing with her and Sandberg, but like she turns it on. Like she does this thing when you first meet her and you can tell it's pretty tense, like in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Like if people are like, whoop, like people just kind of like, and you find out that she was in Arkham.
Yeah.
Oz had something to do with it.
Yeah.
And like you can, her eyes get like really big when she's like turning on the crazy, and it's horrifying.
It's awesome, but also arousing.
It moved.
Yeah. It was scared, but also I liked it. Yeah, she's awesome. I didn't realize that was her in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. She's great in that. That was a good movie too. But yeah, she's awesome as Sophia Falcone, who debuted in my favorite comic of all time. Like that is a character that was not in comics until The Long Halloween. So Jeff Loeb's The Long Halloween, which is my number 1 Batman comic. I think it finished when we did this with the TLDR guys. It finished 2nd or 3rd. It was right up there at the top. But I highly recommend that one. And that's also where you get a lot of Alberto Falcone. So let's start with this real quick. So because we are in spoilers. So Alberto Falcone, this is kind of a spoiler for The Long Halloween. So if you haven't read that book, skip ahead a minute if you don't care, or if you do care. Alberto Falcone is the holiday killer. He is the guy that Batman is after in that whole 12-month saga. All these different people are involved. All these different other members of the Rogues Gallery are involved. But the Penguin kills Alberto Falcone, and I'm like, that's cool for this story, but I'm wondering if like, is it a missed opportunity not to have Alberto set that shit up?
Or is it Sophia in this? Is Sophia the holiday killer in this? And that's why she was in Arkham.
One of the Hangman, right?
Yeah.
That was the thing. Yeah, it could be like you could hand that off to her. So Sophia, like I said, is in that story. She sort of helps figure out who it is. Like who is this? Who is the holiday killer? And she didn't know it was her brother, and then she kind of figures that shit out. Also, like there's that great scene with her and Oz, and they go out to eat, and she's just like scarfing down food, like just shoveling food down her throat and drink and everything else. And then she's talking to Oz about
and then she lays it on him. She's like, well, he visited me every week and he told me he was doing this. And then you're like, the last person who saw him was you. Like she knew, and she didn't say it in front of anybody else.
No.
Like, which was like, she's cold. She's cold.
She's cold. She's so ice cold.
Oh, and the thing with like the wire under his armpit.
Ooh. Oh, she's gonna remove his arm. Just cut his arm right off.
I know. But she's
like on him because she's like, you say whatever you need to say to get out of shit. She's like, I'm like, she gets it. She's like,
yeah, but I love this version of the Penguin who's not like this established guy yet, but he's just like he's a scrapper. Like this guy's doing whatever he can. And like the scene with his mom,
oh my God,
and she calls him the same name that Alberto called him.
Yeah.
And you could see like, and he's like, I was impulsive. It was stupid. She's like, no, that's instinct. You're my big, strong boy. You're like,
she's like, no, first she's like, you're a little pussy boy.
That's what Alberto called him.
You little pussy boy. And then he's like, yeah, then
but I love that, like,
though.
And they said in like the after show thing, and that just like the one thing you don't laugh at him, like you
Yeah.
That's the one thing it's like Marty McFly's chicken, like you can't laugh at it.
Yeah, that's a
And he
good
tells
point.
this really cool story about the guy who was like in his neighborhood who had the parade, and it wasn't a big deal, but like people knew who he was and people really loved him and respected him. And then like Alberto kind of shits on it and like laughs at him.
Mhm.
And I was like,
that.
yeah, did not like that.
He
And
did
he
not.
did it so fast. Like it was like, didn't even think about it. Just did
Nope.
it.
No. Also, like credit to him, like he started with nothing and then he kind of goes up this and plays both sides. You know what? Actually, I don't. Did you ever watch the Gotham TV series?
Bits and pieces.
So it wasn't bad. And the kid who played the Penguin was actually really good, but he played a little bit more kind of like cartoonish version, but also a guy, but not super cartoonish because he was also very violent and could turn on a dime. But he was in a similar place where he was like working his way up like the crime level. And so in this one, he's like a Falcone guy, but then like he sees the way the tides are going. So then he goes and visits Sal Maroni in Blackgate, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then now he's kind of trying to play that side of it too. And then the whole thing with the ring. And then he's working with Victor. Like, cause there's that cool scene where like those guys try getting into his car and he's like, nope, fuck that. And he like he basically like captures this kid, Victor, who's gonna be like his sidekick and help him out of these jams.
Yeah.
But yeah, a cool ending. Like the final, whatever it is, 15 minutes of the episode is pretty sick because the Penguin's getting tortured. He's there dealing with Sophia, like trying to maybe get out of it. And then all of a sudden the car smashes into their estate. They go in there. There's nobody driving.
Like Roadhouse. They did that in Roadhouse.
Right. Yeah. Well, she goes up to him and she's basically like, just like, tell me he's alive. And before he can even say a word, the car just like crashes.
You forget the bet. He's like, oh, so you're telling me this kid's a liar? You're telling me this teenage kid right here is a liar? And he's like, yep. And she just shoots him. He's like, all right, that's what you wanted, right? There you go. Like that. And she's got the big eyes.
Oh, the
and
eyes.
Then when she screams, when she sees Alberta, like that's like you could see everybody like just kind of like look at the ground.
And then he like kind of smiles.
Yeah.
They cut to him and he's sitting there like tied up to the chair and he's like, fucking, he knows that he can trust Victor.
Right. And that was actually a really funny scene. He's like, we talked about like the head and like the hand. We didn't.
Yeah.
Like you didn't do what you said. He's like, well, you know, I was thinking about like how I'm going to do it. And like, if I go through the throat first, or do I go like through the spine? And then he's like, all right, forget it. Like, yeah. They're sitting there drinking slush puppies. He's like, yeah. Like
original slush puppies. OG slush puppies with a dog on it, not like the fucking like ices. They're drinking legit good slush puppies, which
he's dead right too. Mixing flavors and it's the best.
I go just watermelon.
See, I usually a grape, but like you mix watermelon and grape.
You got a watermelon grape.
Oh, so good.
You're gonna have a grape time. I'll tell you what.
And it's always, by the way, my slush puppy recipe, because remember they used to do the thing where they like recommended pumps.
Yes.
Always one more.
Oh, at least.
Always at least one more.
And here's the other little trick of the trade. You got to take the straw, throw it away. You got to drink it like a cup because
otherwise you're just going to get a mouthful of ice towards the end.
All sugar.
Or I drink it from the top too. Your instinct is to put the straw all the way to the bottom. You got to bring it up halfway.
You're right. If you are going to drink it with the straw, you got to lift the straw out of the bottom. Otherwise, you're going to look
at least halfway.
All the flavors gone.
Yeah. It's like a reverse snow cone.
Yep. So he is talking to Victor. Oh, so he's also like the whole thing with the ring and back and forth. So now, he smart gets out of it, and now it's the Falcones and the Maronis. And even if Maroni knows that it's Oz, then he's still like, that's fine. Like they're a player again. That, you know what I mean? Like it's okay for that war to be going on, so he can kind of get out of it.
And he said, I think Oz said at one point, he's like, he has no choice but to claim it.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Because then what? Because now you look stupid. Then if it isn't,
right? Because now you look dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's a wild Keefspiracy. I don't think it's gonna play out. But so the guy that his like buddy now, who's the kid sidekick, his name is Vic. Any chance that this is the origin story of a Victor Zsasz, and that just like he's normal now, but he keeps having him do shit and do shit and do shit, and he fucking gets less and less human, and he just becomes like a fucking crazy killer.
It just blew my mind.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought of that now. Not bad.
That's pretty good.
Because he's like a young kid right now, but like look what he already did. And like you could see by the
Without
end,
not a lot of push.
nope. No, he was willing to do it. He was like, this
Yep.
guy kind of believes in me.
Well, he did say, "You do what I say, or I'm going to kill you."
Yeah, okay.
And
a
it's
little bit
easier
of
to
a
just
push.
kill you.
Slight shove.
Yeah.
Slight shove. But yeah, so he does that, and I don't know. That'd be kind of a fun little thing to keep an eye
Something
on.
else. I'd be into it.
What else? What else do we miss here? Great setup, and you're gonna get the Sophia. Just having Sophia Falcone is probably like the main adversary this whole season. I think is a sick way to go about it.
But I wonder if she's got connections in Arkham, so I wonder who she has on speed dial too.
Right. That's the beauty of already having like Blackgate and Arkham set up. Is like you can get anybody and they could be in there for 30 seconds, or you might just get somebody walking by or like whatever. Like they're just in those two places.
And if you saw like this season on, like they show her in Arkham. So I wonder if there's going to be an episode where it's just like her time there.
Oh, that would be sick.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit for this goddamn show.
And you build, and again, I know this is going to sound dumb, but like it's world building. Like I love the world building aspect of this.
And the second Batman isn't coming out until 2026. I wonder if you need to like we're obviously going to watch this, but I wonder if there's going to be stuff in this that you need for the second Batman, or if it's just going to be the first Batman that you need.
Well, I think when he walks through the door in like the Batman 2, like all of this stuff has already happened.
Yes.
And so I'm guessing they're building towards some big thing that's going to go down that puts Penguin in a position to be like the gun runner,
Penguin's
guy
got to be
that we think he is. Yeah.
Penguin's got to be kind of up there, I'd imagine. I wonder if we get any Catwoman in this, or even like a reference to Catwoman. I mean, probably not. We probably won't get her in there. A reference, I wouldn't be surprised.
A reference, or like, even just like a wink and a nod, to that, where
That's
like,
all I need.
so they had like those jewels that he got from, or he was trying to steal from Alberto, like those go missing.
Right. Yeah, that's all you need. Something like that, or like a headline in the Gotham Gazette, or something.
Or like even like they do a great job of like the news, like even it's like the news ticker or something.
Yeah. Well, I like it. And for whatever reason, it premiered on a Thursday, but then the rest of the series is going to be Sunday nights.
And it's funny, like I didn't even know it premiered on Thursday. I waited till Sunday night.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. I thought it was on Sunday. I didn't even know.
No idea why. They were like, they must have had something else, but then whatever. So is this actually, should we be the Penguino boys? Do we want to do episodes, every episode on the Penguin? I think it's so far so good. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. That's that way we just, we do 2 episodes a week. There's one we don't have to worry about anymore for the next 8 weeks.
Right. Now we'll still do it on Mondays.
Yes.
Right. Like we're not going to do like immediate watch. Give
everyone time to watch it.
Yep, exactly.
So but you got to watch the show, man. It's fucking awesome.
I love it. That's a good idea. So one of our 2 episodes each week will be the Penguin. And then even when we get into Dorktober, that also separates. So we can always do like a horror movie thing
we can do like a rewatch, or we can do like a top 10 and then some emails and then Penguin.
I like top 10 scariest as an idea. I like that Witch in the Woods, whatever that one was from.
Ted the Disney one.
Or from Ted. Remember the show? Not Ted 2, Ted the TV
series.
Yeah.
I was talking, we were laughing about that the other night. That episode when the friend comes over who's supposed to like help him out, and it's not even the right guy.
No, that guy
wasn't he couldn't draw hands, so he drew dicks. Or was it
dicks or was it breasts?
I forget. Like he couldn't draw hands.
But then he couldn't watch like real women because he drew all like erotic stuff, and then he's like he couldn't watch. He couldn't like get into like porno because they all had hands. Whatever, wasn't his thing?
Oh, that's right. He couldn't draw hands, so he drew like something else.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Josh in the chat wants a 7 rewatch. That's not bad for Dorktober.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
That is a nice time right there. All right, that'll do it for us. You guys can let us know what you thought of the Penguin episode 1 at Dork Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And you can email us again anytime. We already rifled through a few of them. dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Do you want to do a quick
Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the pod.
You go first.
All right, I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I don't think I got anything. I was trying to think. No. Oh, you know what I downloaded actually? So real quick. I haven't streamed anything in a while, but there was like a free Silent Hill version of some, I forget which one it is, but there's a Silent Hill game that I downloaded for PS5. I think it's one of like the shorter games, but I might like not a mini game, but you know what I mean? Like I don't think it's a full game, but it was free in the store, so I downloaded it, and that might be worth a playthrough sometime in Dorktober.
I have a skip it and good news for you for my pick of the pod.
Okay, what's the skip it?
Twilight of the Gods, Zack
Okay.
Snyder animated show. I watched like 10 minutes. I'm like, this is dumb.
No,
I'm like, this is dumb. I don't want anything to do with this.
I didn't go there. No.
Yeah, like there's a lot of cartoon nudity and sexual encounters within the first 10 minutes. You're just like whatever. But here's some good news for you. On October 15th, just around the corner, Netflix has acquired Detroiters season 1 and 2.
Hell yes.
And people are already saying like, okay, now make season 3.
Ooh. Well, he's got the Chair Company show. He's got to do, I think you should leave probably season 4.
I understand. But you're right there to
flip
forward and do Detroiters season 3 with Cramlin and Duvet. I will watch that show constantly.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that that's going to be back on Netflix. It'll be easier to watch because it wasn't like Paramount. And this will be better. This will be for sure better.
Yes.
All right, very good. Yeah, so keep an eye out for all of that. Next week will be interesting. We might split it actually because next week, Monday night is the 30th. So we'll do the Penguin, but then the episode that we'll release on like Wednesday on the podcast will be into Dorktober. So maybe next week, one of the two will be our first spooky season thing.
I love that.
But so stay tuned for all that to find out. Thanks for listening to this. Tell a friend, tell a dork. You can watch the episodes on YouTube, either live on Monday night, or you can go back into the archives and watch them at your leisure, or you can hit us up on Apple Pod. You can hit us up on Spotify, on Odyssey app, wherever else you get your podcasts. All right, Ryan, promise me a million times over you'll never do another rule.
Yeah, man, no, I'm not going to promise you that.